quantitative futurist, our best-selling author, and founder of one of the world's most influential strategy and foresight consulting firms. She goes by the name of Amy Webb. She is the CEO of the Future Today Institute, where she pioneered a data-driven, technology-led foresight methodology that reveals the future through trends and scenarios. Now, if you all ever been to South by Southwest, you probably heard her widely popular yearly tech trend report. Here to present her latest research findings that affect each and every one of us, please welcome Amy Webb to the stage.
Good morning. It is great to see all of you here. Some of you I didn't expect to see. Your Excellency, it's wonderful to see you this morning. And Sonda is such an inspirational person. I was with her just a few weeks ago. This is totally off script, but this gives you a sense of how concretely she's thinking about the future. I'm an assistant scoutmaster for my daughter's scout troop. And she hosted a group of incredibly thoughtful, kind young women who are very eager to go faster forward, to create better futures, and inspired them to the point where a few of them have changed their minds on what they're going to do for the rest of their lives because they want to follow in her footsteps. So it's incredible to be here. This is a momentous occasion, and I want to get started. So I'd like to share a story with you about our shared past, our present, and our futures. So this is a map of the lower 48. And right now, we are all sitting in the Javits Center in the middle of New York, not the middle of New York City, we're on the far west side of New York City. But I actually want to draw your attention west to that blob of red dots that you see on the map. Those red dots are all located in West Virginia, and they mark the location of coal mines. So coal mining in the United States began in the 18th century. There were small mines in Virginia and West Virginia to start. And coal became important because of a groundbreaking emerging technology. A technology that was so futuristic and so hyper advanced that it threatened to totally disrupt everyday life. It threatened to disrupt local economies and society as a whole. And that was the steam engine. The steam engine had a wide range of applications.
Have you fallen asleep yet? The justification for being under our skin for 30 years is that we needed to upgrade humans. And the justification for having no fear of this, and no say, and no discussion, is right here. It's economic. It's a disruptive emerging technology. Now, we're going to be watching this entire thing in some chunks because she's going to blast off into language models and other places in machine learning that we haven't talked about yet, but they are in the AI world. And then we're going to be back into the photonics.
They used synthetic biology to create a new peptide, which is a protein. And basically, when you mix it together with water, it can self-assemble into a very rigid glass. This means you could have new types of glass that also have different functions and can be easier to work with. So one of the challenges with advancing AI and all of the geoeconomic and geopolitical problems is getting enough compute. But the compute requires semiconductor chips, and as we all know, at the moment, they all come from Taiwan. And there are fraught relationships between China and Taiwan, Taiwan, and the United States. As a result of that, the United States and its allies, it's a little bit of a mess at the moment. So my question is, could this approach start to address our semiconductor chip problem? And the answer is yes, again, with planning. Now, I know that generative AI is the new hotness, and this is the thing everybody's talking about. However, generative AI and even generative bio, that's not the end, that is the beginning. Sometime in the next decade, artificial intelligence will be working alongside something called organoid intelligence. And I know that doesn't sound real or urgent, but here's what it is. Organoid intelligence uses biological materials. So typically this is brain cells pulled from mammals, including humans, to leverage inherent capabilities beyond what we can do in silicon. I know that sounds nuts. However, this research is already underway in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins University. And what you are seeing here is a brain organoid. So this is a tiny living structure made up of real cells. It's a tiny little replica. You start with something called an induced pluripotent stem cell, which you can get from anywhere, and sort of nudge it biologically and chemically to induce it to become a different type of cell. So long story short, we now have cells like this, which are being used to create new types of computers, which means that what's on the horizon are biocomputers made out of human brain cells.
Oh, you don't say. Dishy McDish brain, here we go again. See other videos. Generalization ability analysis of through-the-wall human activity recognition. What do you want me to say, folks? We already talked about this last September. And I've warned and warned and warned and warned, and everybody's too busy wanting to put their diaper on and live forever in the metaverse. I just don't want to upload to the cloud. Just not interested in that. And I don't understand why you people who are saving the world with our sustainability smart cities, why can't you tell people what you're doing? Why is it always me? Yeah, exiled brain surgeon, DARPA mind control, quantum biology, and sunlight medicine, Dr. Jack Krause. Yeah, I just... It is just not worth getting worked up over. Let's educate. All right? Okay. So, generalization ability analysis of through-the-wall radar human activity recognition, published October 11th, 2024. Overview. Through-the-wall radar can detect human activity even when people are behind walls. This paper analyzes the generalization ability of machine learning models, like the ones I fast-forwarded past for now, for recognizing human activities from radar data. The researchers focus on understanding how well these models perform on new, unseen data compared to the training data. Plain English explanation. The paper examines through-the-wall radar human activity recognition, which is the ability to detect and identify human activities even when the person is behind a wall. This is useful for applications like home security, search and rescue, and health care monitoring. The key idea is to use micro-Doppler signatures, the unique radar reflections created by a person's movements, to train machine learning models to recognize different activities. However, a major challenge is ensuring these models can generalize well to new situations and environments beyond the training data. This paper analyzes the generalization ability of these models, looking at how accurately they can identify activities in new test cases compared to the original training data. The researchers used techniques like dimension reduction to better understand the key features the models are learning. Technical explanation. The paper starts by collecting a data set of through-the-wall radar signals corresponding to different human activities. They extract micro-Doppler feature values from the raw radar data and use dimensionality reduction techniques like principal component analysis to generate compact feature representations. These reduced feature sets are then used to train various machine learning models, including support vector machines, decision trees, and neural networks, to classify the human activities. The key innovation is analyzing how well these models generalize to new, unseen test data compared to their performance on the original training set. You want to talk about AI watching you? It's learning you and your environment too. The researchers calculate generalization error bounds to quantify this generalization ability, providing insights into which model architectures and feature representations lead to the best performance on new data. They also analyze how factors like the number of training samples and the complexity of the activities impact the model's ability to generalize. Critical analysis. The paper provides a thorough analysis of the generalization capabilities of through-the-wall radar-based human activity recognition systems. However, it does not address some potential limitations. The experiments are conducted in a controlled lab environment, so the models may not generalize as well to real-world scenarios with variable obstacles and conditions. So, this paper is still worth reading, but for those of you here on the channel, you already know all this the appropriate way because, as usual, we're in the commercial world to a degree. So in the artificial intelligence signals processing, machine learning, national security world, in the view of national security, radar microdoppler signatures-based recognition of suspicious human activities becomes significant. In connection to this, early detection and warning of terrorist activities at the country borders, protected, secure, guarded places, and civilian violent protests is mandatory. Designing and automated human suspicious activities, army crawling, army jogging, jumping with holding a gun, army marching, boxing, and stone pelting, grenade throwing recognition system. Using a suitable deep convolutional neural network model is rapidly growing due to its inherent in-depth features extraction capability. As a value addition to this research, an X-band continuous wave 10 GHz radar has been developed at our Radar Systems Laboratory and used to acquire the MD signatures to prepare a data set corresponding to above-mentioned suspicious activities. In order to prepare a realistic data set, human targets of different heights, weights, and gender are directed to perform the suspicious activities in front of the radar at different ranges between 10 meters to 0.5 kilometers and at different target aspect angles. And then here's the image, what it looks like when it's translated into their software. Y'all are super familiar with that, right? Okay. So, conclusion. Let's see. And then related papers. This paper makes an important contribution to understanding the generalization ability of machine learning models for through-the-wall radar human activity recognition. The findings suggest that careful feature engineering and model selection are critical to ensuring these systems can reliably detect and identify human activities even in unfamiliar environments. This knowledge can guide the development of more practical and generalizable through-the-wall radar applications in areas like security, rescue operations, and our very favorite, healthcare monitoring. Okay? Now, the retrieval and effect of core parameters for near-field interbody coupling communication. That's when your cell phone is bootstrapping to send your biomarkers and all sorts of different things that we use the Fitbits and the wearables for. Okay? Including if you have an embedded pacemaker, right? All right. The potential of the Internet of Bodies to support healthcare systems in the future, lies in its ability to enable proactive wellness screening through the early detection and prevention of diseases. One promising technology for facilitating Internet of Bodies applications is near-field interbody coupling communication, which features low power consumption and higher data security when compared to conventional radio frequency communication. However, designing efficient transceivers requires a profound understanding of the channel characteristics of near-field interbody coupling communication, which remain unclear due to significant differences in the magnitude, and passband characteristics of existing research. In response to this problem, this paper clarifies the physical mechanisms of the differences in the magnitude and passband characteristics of NFIBCC channel characteristics in existing research work through the core parameters that determine the gain of the NFIBCC system. The core parameters are extracted through the combination of transfer functions, finite element simulations, and physical experiments. The core parameters include the interbody coupling capacitance, the load impedance, and the capacitance coupled by two floating transceiver grounds. The results illustrate that the coupling capacitance, and particularly the capacitance, primarily determine the gain magnitude. Moreover, the load impedance mainly determines the passband characteristics of the system gain. Based on these findings, we propose a simplified equivalent circuit model containing only core parameters, which can accurately capture the gain characteristics of the system and help to concisely describe the channel characteristics of the system. This work lays a theoretical foundation for developing efficient and reliable systems that can support Internet of Bodies for, what does it say? Early disease detection like the CoV band. Yeah, we know. And prevention. So early disease detection and prevention in healthcare applications, just like we've been told with the Agenda 2030 goals of continuous health monitoring. The potential benefits of IOB and NFIBCC technology can thus be fully realized by developing optimized transceiver designs based on a comprehensive understanding of the channel characteristics. We are in the Sensors MDPI journals, by the way, in 2023. Yeah, every year people are dying, so we have to save them. Early screening and diagnoses are crucial. The Internet of Bodies represents a promising extension of the Internet of Things. It utilizes connected devices in, on, and around the human body to enable various applications. The Internet of Bodies offers proactive wellness screening and post-surgery or medication monitoring opportunities, among others. The Internet of Bodies for medical applications utilizes two types of information exchange modes, namely in vivo and in vitro communication. In vivo communication takes place through human tissues, serving as the primary channel for vital signs, to interact wirelessly via implants. In vitro communication involves information interaction between external hubs, which involves transmitting monitored vital signals from the hub to the doctor for information processing and diagnoses. Like I said, cybersecurity layer 2, inter-body area network layer, where your body on the intraband is telling your interband, which would be your phone, your iPad, whatever, what I just said right there. Transmitting your monitored vital signs from your phone to the doctor for information processing and diagnoses. And unless your doctor is a super hacker working with or for some sort of security, he doesn't know what the black box is in between how it's getting from your phone to his software. It's proprietary and heavily cyber secured. Well, cyber biologically secured. Considering the doctor's diagnoses, in vitro non-contact communication is preferred to avoid the potential risk of disease spread, with air serving as the primary communication medium. Moreover, it is imperative that the quality of service of the Internet of Bodies possesses relatively strict security and low consumption characteristics, given the sensitivity of vital signals. That's one of the wireless body area network protocols. If you hear me say QoS, that's your quality of service, and right there is why. Because as I mentioned before, we only want to hit the liver, not the stomach, and we need a lot more pressure or a lot less. A lot of that is managed in your temperature aware and then in quality of service for further finite nano details, Internet of Bio nano things. A strategy for balancing the trade-off between the risks of disease transmission and data security has been proposed, namely near-field interbody coupling communication. This strategy adopts the concept of near-field intra-body communication, also referred to as human-body communication. We're not even 3 paragraphs in, and I know a bunch of you are like, oh, dear Lord, Sabrina. I know, right? You'd say it over and over again, and they call it 8 different acronyms, and everybody still dances around like they don't know what you... Oh my gosh, am I electrical? Dear Lord. And again, look at this. I mean, we'll be here quite a while reading all these different things. All so that they can sit right there. Schematic diagram of signal transmission to equivalent circuit model. Node representing the human body and the direction of the electric field decay. They're using the electricity and the magnetism of the human body, and they are decoupling your bioelectric field any way they want to, and then recoupling it as well. So, just paragraphs at a time, you know. Human body communication, which provides advantages such as low power consumption and high data security. Specifically, the electromagnetic fields are distributed in the vicinity of the human body when the source transmission electrodes are in contact with one human body. Strong coupling occurs without physical contact when another body equipped with a receiver approaches the near field region. As depicted in Figure 1AB, the operating frequency of the near field channel is below 10 megahertz in comparison to radio frequency communication technologies such as Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and Zigbee. The evanescent wave attenuates rapidly as the transmission distance increases. For transmitted power levels less than 1 milliwatt, the near field coupling distance is less than 3 meters. Given that the ratio of the transmission distance to the operating wavelength is substantially less than 0.1, it is anticipated that radiation levels will be lower, thereby enhancing the security of the physical layer. And the physical layer of human body communication is your skin. A profound understanding of those channel characteristics, going through the skin and your fat tissue, etc. Information interaction between the pacemaker and the hub intrabody communication can be realized through intrabody communication, while the information interaction between human bodies can be achieved through that near field IBCC. Comparing the effective distance of the NF-IBCC with traditional RF communication technology, it is observed that near field IBCC provides relatively higher information security. The human figures were created using the open source software Make Human. A comparison of NF-IBCC and traditional RF communication technologies, including Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and Zigbee, was performed based on the operating frequency, communication range, transmission power at the transmission end, and information rate, and information security. It was found that NF-IBCC has low power consumption and high information security characteristics. So there's the person, there's 3 people there. Okay, there you go. And you have the region of the radio frequency has all of them. Then you have the one person there sending the signal, and the other 2 are coupling their signals together. This is human body communication. Now, in the energy work world, if we were allowed to learn about the biofield, this is how biofield concurrence happens naturally. But remember, they're practicing molecular communication. That's our endocrine system. Yeah, welcome back to the anatomy you won't admit to, which is how they're getting away with every bit of this. I know, day after day after day after day after day. All right, so coherent optical routing is a network technology that connects routers using DWDM wavelengths to optimize network performance. Coherent routing provides network operators a path to achieve Internet Protocol optical convergence, biological to digital, that is designed to optimize network performance through multi-layer operations, dynamic scalability, and improved overall network stability. Now, the comments that I've made about the zeolite, that's because the zeolite quantum molecular integration is all over the place. It's used in the water remediation, like I said, but it's also used, and there's different types, okay? Imazidol, that's not the masterpiece type. This one here, this is different. But that's for quantum dots versus nuclear quantum effects on zeolite proton hopping kinetics. So on the Internet of Bio-Nano Things, because it's using nano-sized molecular communication, that is being handled by the beam steering and the beam forming of the molecular structures in the air molecules around you. This is the epigenetics of the human body, plants, animals, trees, and everything in between. So they're pushing on those systems. That's why the Internet of Medical Things is on the back end of all of these products to keep you safe. But there are some of these things where people, they don't know about molecular communication. So they're thinking, hey, we could cage this, through the water molecules, the aqueous environment of the body, and play with this nano or drag it out. And it comes right back. Yeah, because the Internet of Medical Things is what's managing all this with omics. Yeah, it says database. You better believe it. Why? These are neural networks. They're networks that are literally hanging in the air around you, copying everything you do. They're made of you, they echo you, and they're right there for 50 years. All we need is light and sound. Radar. You don't need nano, but it's there in my opinion, as a redundancy network, and also to be like, no, it's not, we're going internet. I know transhumanists, I know molecular communication, life extension, regenerative medicine, and full complete digital enslavement of the human body. I know, calm down. A reactive neural network framework for water-loaded acidic zeolites. Again, a different kind than the masterpiece, but they all do the same thing. And the reason that they do the same thing on these networks, multimodal deep learning using on-chip diffractive optics with in situ training capability. These little these chips with their substrates and photonic circuits, that's literally air molecules that are made up of different chemical or metallic compounds. They're super small. There's a ton of different types of them, and that's machine learning. We are in converged optical routing architecture quantum sensors right now. Why? Because the back end of the way we run our control planes have changed, and we have the Internet of Everything with network function virtualization. Converged intra and inter data center network architecture. Photonic tensor cores. Data architecture and working principle of a photonic tensor core. Light and sound. Quantum optical neural networks. Quantum is about, they see all the options, the observer effect, before the waveform collapses, as they put it, but it's your biofield concurrence. Your body is always in flux with those toroidal fields. Yeah, welcome to machine learning. Those toroidal fields is exactly the math they're using with the hyperledger. We're decentralized. That just means you can leave your wireless and continue being surveilled under the skin. Good job. Futuristic view of the Internet of Quantum Drones. Review challenge and research data. So if I went too fast with the zeolite, hang on a second. Quantum sensors, quantum molecular integration. We have cavitation. We have all these different ways that we're using plasma polaritons with spin, and it's being done by harnessing the photons, photonic networks, the biophotons that we as humans naturally emit, and those biophotons of us is what they're using with our own natural energy, bioelectricity, piezoelectric, doesn't matter, and they're bouncing those signals all over to create that digital twin, and then to affect the way our cells respond with a bioelectromagnetic algorithm. Because the algorithms are the air molecules, machine to machine only, being electrocuted and bouncing around. And that's all set up with that same algorithm system. Molecular structure determination, thermal measurements with nanodiamonds, in vivo magnetic activity in animals, subcellular organelle metabolic studies, electrical activity studies in cellular cultures, clinical diagnostics in humans, quantum sensors for biomedical applications, Nature Review Physics. Quantum sensors are finding their way from laboratories to the real world, February 2023. As witnessed by the increasing number of startups in this field, the atomic length scale of quantum sensors and their coherence, biofield concurrence, their coherence properties enable unprecedented spatial resolution and sensitivity. Biomedical applications could benefit from these quantum technologies, but it is often difficult to evaluate the potential impact of the techniques. This review sheds light on these questions, presenting the status of quantum sensing applications and discussing their path towards commercialization. The focus is on two promising quantum sensing platforms, optically pumped atomic magnetometers and nitrogen vacancy centers in diamond. The broad spectrum of biomedical applications is highlighted by 4 case studies ranging from brain imaging to single cell spectroscopy. Key points. Quantum sensors can detect magnetic fields and other physical quantities with unprecedented spatial resolution and sensitivity, making them highly interesting for biomedical applications. Optically pumped magnetometers offer new functionalities in clinical magnetoencephalography with their wearable sensor helmet, allowing the subject to perform tasks and move during the recording of brain activity. Nitrogen vacancy center-based magnetometry of single neurons, thinking tomography, and magnetic biomarkers with subcellular resolution opens new avenues in studying neuronal circuits and in rapid clinical testing. Nuclear magnetic resonance based on the nitrogen vacancy centers in diamond enables microscale and nanoscale detection of single molecules and single cells, which could be applied in structure determination of transmembrane proteins and in metabolomic studies. Nanodiamonds containing that nitrogen vacancy centers can locally probe temperature-dependent biological processes in cells and small organisms, such as cell development and endogenous heat generation. Quantum sensors for biomedical applications. Okay. And don't forget that when it comes to these biosignals, 18th International Joint Conference on Biomedical Engineering Systems and Technologies, BioStech 2025, with photo optics as well. And the purpose of the International Conference on Bio-Inspired Systems, the signal processing is to bring together everybody, researchers, professionals, and practitioners from multiple areas of expertise, working at the intersection of engineering, mathematics, statistics, computer science, data science, biology, physics, and medicine, interested in developing, applying, and testing algorithmic tools, models, and techniques to solve challenging problems in biology, medicine, and sport. A diversity of signal types can be found in this area, including mechanic, thermal, electric, magnetic, electromagnetic ones, and any other biological sources of information. Since analyzing and using the different types of data related to these applications often requires cross-disciplinary expertise, skills, and collaborative efforts. Excuse me. This conference was created with the aim to be a high-quality forum to celebrate many of these ongoing interactions and research efforts. Privacy Impact Assessment for eGuardian. I don't think they care. September 2022. Section 1. The eGuardian system is a web-based platform where federal and state law enforcement entities can collaborate, coordinate, and deconflict investigative activity. eGuardian allows other federal agencies, state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement entities, the Department of Defense, and fusion centers, collectively participating agencies, to document, share, and track potential threats, suspicious activity, and cyber, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, or criminal activity, collectively incidents, to avoid unintended incidents with the FBI with each other. The eGuardian user community consists of FBI employees, contractors, and detailees, as well as participating agency employees, contractors, and detailees who have been approved for access by the FBI's Office of Partner Engagement. Woosah. eGuardian is hosted in the Amazon Web Services Unclassified Cloud Fabric. Yeah, like it says in our 802.15.4 sign. Users access eGuardian through the FBI's Law Enforcement Enterprise portal using their LEAP access credentials. The information collected, maintained, used, and disseminated by the system describes incidents and incident subjects, victims, and witnesses. Users can manually put incidents into eGuardian, or incidents can be created using systems that interconnect with eGuardian as described in Section 2. eGuardian information can be retrieved by keyword or index search. Yeah, like Snowden explained with the other stuff. What databases? Would you imagine? They get bigger, they grow, they index, and grow again. Sometimes they get divided for ease of use. Purpose and use of the information technology. As noted above, eGuardian allows participating agencies to document, share, and track incidents with the FBI and with each other. The FBI also uses eGuardian to share information from the FBI Guardian System, National Threat Operations Center, Threat Intake Processing System, and with participating agencies, and to share information from the Threat Intake TIPS Processing System and InfraGard. Users access eGuardian through the LEAP Law Enforcement Enterprise portal using their credentials. LEAP users that have been approved for eGuardian access by OPE can then navigate to the eGuardian homepage, and from that homepage, users can navigate the following tabs: Incidents, Search, Reports, Maps, Admin, Feedback, Products, and Help. Incidents allows users to manually create new incidents and track the workflow of existing incidents. eGuardian incidents may be in draft, shared, reported, closed, imported, in process, routed, or deleted status. When a participating agency user initially enters an incident in eGuardian, the incident is only visible to the user and the user's supervisor at the participating agency. The participating agency, user supervisor, makes the determination whether to share, report, or delete the incident. If the participating agency deletes the incident prior to sharing, the FC, the FBI, and other participating agencies will not have access to the incident. If the participating agency elects to submit the incident to their FC approver, the incident will display as draft, which indicates that it is in draft form pending approval to be shared or reported. If the participating agency does not have a relationship with AFC, Fusion Center, the draft will be sent to OPE's approver, FBI HQ administrator responsible for FBI headquarters user access, and the system will display draft EFC approval. Wow, it doesn't sound like they're very organized, huh? Reported, closed, deleted, imported. Incidents are permitted on a case-by-case basis, but incidents relating to ongoing FBI investigative activity will generally not be shared. Routed threat to life incidents created by NTOC tips to participating agencies. In process, incidents opened in eGuardian that have been shared or reported to Guardian are currently being assessed by Guardian users. Search allows to perform a keyword search of shared incidents. Maps allows incidents to be plotted as retrieved, geospatial, from a map location using incident address, subject address, and witness address. Admin provides access to eGuardian's administrative functions such as an individual's eGuardian user profile and allows users to create a customized email subscription service to receive notifications of new incidents. Playing people like video games, watching everything they do. Okay? Now you can't get mad at people. This software could be used for good. I haven't seen it since I've been alive, but it could be. Huh. eGuardian provides the ability to utilize, and do you see how easy parallel construction is now? They have the air molecules in your house, they look through walls, they bend light, they record you, they set you up. You have no damn idea any of this is there. And then one day you think you're having a cheeseburger and then you're in prison. No, Sabrina, it's not that bad. Oh. You better take a step back. If you've never worked for these people and pissed them off, then you can run your mouth like that. I wouldn't. Okay? That's why they were sitting in Congress with the anomalous health incidents, because this stuff is very severe. It's very, very intense. So for those of you interested in the FBI eGuardian, Here you go. For those of you thinking that you're going to have some format of privacy and all that kind of stuff, there's a bunch of it listed back here of how they walked right around your amendments. Remember, this is the home of lawfare known as the Department of Defense. Now, LoRaN is something from the 70s, and it came up earlier in our quantum sensing and such, so I wanted to come back to it. So here we are at GPS, GNSS, Positioning, Navigation, Timing World, GPS World, September 30th, 2024. UK mod investigating deployable e-LoRaN. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense is focusing its alternative position, navigation, and timing project on deployable e-LoRaN. This comes after industry days for all PNT in March and June 2024. The announcement came in a request for information on September 20th. It specifies that a contract will be let for the development of a deployable e-LoRaN network. As part of that contract, the mod also wants to develop modeling capability, which will allow for theoretical analysis of capabilities and informing the concept of employment and assured capability within the LoRaN data channel, information and demonstration of the resulting capability to stakeholders. The UK Position, Navigation, and Timing Policy Framework. Hi, Colin. You're going to love this. Last year, the UK government announced a 10-point policy framework for advancing the nation's position, navigation, and timing resilience. One of the 10 points is develop a proposal for resilient terrestrial and sovereign enhanced long-range navigation system to provide backup position and navigation. Most have seen this as a provision for a fixed domestic system for use by critical infrastructure and applications. The UK has an on-air single e-LoRaN transmitter that provides a timing signal. An announcement about establishing 2 or more additional transmitters to provide position, navigation, timing services for the British Isles and their adjacent waters has been anticipated. The policy framework also includes develop a proposal for mod timeline creating deeper resilience through a system of last resort and use NTC provided timing to support mod. It is not immediately clear how this RFI from the mod fits these two provisions, if at all, or it is entirely separate. 1970s deployable LoRaN. Deployable LoRaN, or LoRaN-D, was first developed for the U.S. Air Force in the 1970s. An oral history recounts that a system was deployed early in the 70s by the 6514th Test Squadron at Utah Test and Training Range, a component of Hill Air Force Base. It was built by Megapulse, employed a Hewitt-Packard beam clock and 150-foot antennas, and was used for testing unmanned aircraft. There are also indications elsewhere that the Air Force used it for precision bombing. Specifications for LoRaN-D are documented in the 1972 U.S. Coast Guard Technical Manual, available on the DoD website. Industry sources say this earlier work provides a solid foundation for developing future deployable e-LoRaN systems. Well, for those of you that didn't fucking listen when I told you about the drones in North Korea, here you go. Go have some fun reading about those unmanned vehicles in the 70s. Because we test things before we put them out to the world. So there's the mod requirements and such, but I wanted to make sure I put this here for some of our folks. Floating terahertz metamaterials with extremely large refractive index sensitivities. What in the world does that mean? Well, it means that they can find out anything they want to from bouncing the signal across those huge surfaces using cloth, the wall, something around you that is smart after all, as in it has a smart surface, and then they can bend the light and flex it back and forth. It just never ends.